G'day and welcome back to the Hidden Why podcast. Lee Martinelli with you again today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Grateful to have you here with me. You're going to love this one. Well, if you like AI or curious about where it's heading, this is a really cool conversation with Sharon Gai. I sit down with her and she's an AI and innovation expert, former Alibaba executive, keynote speaker, and author of How to Do More with Less Using AI. That's the book that we're speaking about here today. Really good conversation. We go in depth about, is AI going to take over our jobs, what it means for our work, what we need to do to shift and future-proof ourselves. In depth into all facets, what generations are utilizing AI more and how this is going to affect creativity. You name it, we discover it, we talk about it. It's a great conversation. I really hope you enjoy it. Enjoy, and I'll chat to you at the other end. Cheers. G'day, Sharon. Welcome to the Hidden Why podcast. Great to have you here.
Thanks, Lay.
I'm looking forward to this conversation. You've got a new book out, which is How to Do More with Less. Is that right?
Yep.
Future-proofing yourself in an AI-driven economy. So all about AI. Give us a little bit of a background first as to where you've come from, and you are now considered a bit of an AI expert.
A bit of. I came from, my first job out of college was in the data center space. So I worked a lot within the hardware realm where we would work with CIOs or CTOs to build up their physical data centers. And back in the day, every company had their physical data center. So they would purchase real estate space or they would sort of rent space from a co-location partner and then literally buy servers. And then the
Right.
cloud age came, and that's when we sort of downgraded or just decommissioned all of that hardware. And then we all went into the cloud. And then right around that time, I was with some of those companies for a little bit, but I joined Alibaba right after that. So I
Yeah.
went up from sort of the hardware stack to the software stack. And I think now we're sort of seeing the importance of the hardware things again because all these companies are thinking of rebuilding their own data centers again because of what's happening in AI. But I spent some time in Alibaba in China where I really saw what how AI had been changing workflows.
Mm.
So there's this thing called Double 11 every single year. It's kind of like a Black Friday. It's where brands will sell most of their sales online for the full year. And I was pulled into an office very late at night. And during Double 11, we would hire thousands of extra marketers, copywriters, designers to help us design banners, redesign product detail pages. So a lot of extra hands and a lot of extra help to carry us over this season. And so I was shown this tool that was kind of an early iteration of what a mid journey is similar to. So you input a prompt, you say, "This is what I'm selling," and create me this image or write me this page, this product detail page, and then spat out everything. And all of that used to be written letter by letter by somebody.
Yep.
And so that was in 2018. And so my life changed then, my team lives changed then, and then it was eventually rolled out to the rest of the company, and the company had to learn this new way of working. And then you fast forward some more years, and then everyone sees ChatGPT, and now sort of the Pandora's box has been opened, and it's a constant iteration or a constant there's a plethora of different AI tools that are out there now for everything from design
Yeah.
to video to productivity to writing. So the thing I think though is if you're not part of the classic tech space, it's kind of hard to know where to start and
Yeah.
what is hype and what is signal and what is noise. Like,
Hmm.
is it true that I will be losing my job to it? Like, is the thousands of people being laid off in the tech space something that I should pay attention to, or is it just a downturn in the economy? So I think for those people, it's hard to evaluate what to believe. So that's why I wrote this book.
Right.
To sort of let the truth sift out. Because I don't like to hype people too much and I don't like to undersell something either. In fact, in the book, you'll see there's many times where I'm presenting you two pieces of information that's like opposite to each other, but they're both true at the same time. So the hope is that you will, or the reader will take that and sort
Hmm.
of take what they will with it, involve what they are doing in their own industries, and find something useful.
Yeah. Okay. There's lots to unpack in this. So, first question I have is why are companies now considering going back to physical databases rather than the cloud software that you mentioned before?
There's just so much emphasis on GPUs and hardware, and should we have sovereignty in that? Like, is it more secure? Are we handing over all of this data to these frontier models that's just going to eat up more and more of our data, even though their products promise you that it won't? So the ChatGPT
Right.
enterprise or the Claude enterprise says that it's siloed off. Like, we are not going to be mixing whatever your users are saying or inputting with the rest of our users. But at the end of the day, they own the data center, they own the hardware. And so
Yeah.
they have their, like at the end of the day, the owner of that piece of thing is belongs to someone else. So that's why there's
So it's
the
more about
the
protecting your IP and all that sort of thing as a company.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing though is not many companies can afford it. Like, building out a physical data center is extremely capital intensive. If you're not a
Right.
large bank, if you're not a large tech company, you're most likely most of your infrastructure is still in the cloud. It will
Right.
still be with like an AWS, an Azure, a Google Cloud, one of the big guys.
Yeah. Okay. Cool, cool. So you mentioned like do more with less. What do you mean by that in an AI-driven economy?
So, the reason why there's a B on the cover is
Yeah.
there's is po or pre 2022, which is we have like the like year zero as BC, pre that is BC years, post that is AD years, and then in my land, in my world of zero, it's 2022. So there's pre that age and post that age. And I think
Okay.
pre that age, we kind of all worked like busy bees.
Yeah.
So we were inundated with to-do lists. It was one after another, and it was a lot of things that we had to execute and knock off ourselves.
Hmm.
You can hire people and outsource it to them, but they will be doing it
Yeah.
themselves,
But they're
and you're
still busy
paying their
bees.
wage.
Yeah.
It's right, and you're still people doing it. But post 2022, the idea is that we can now work like beekeepers, where we're keeping the bees or we're raising this environment or farm where these AI agents can thrive and talk to each other and produce our work.
Right.
So, the how to do more with less is, so say you have less, say you don't have the money to hire people, say you don't have the design skills that's required, say you don't know how to build websites and you don't know how to code, and there's like a lack of things, that now you can have this new beekeeper lens where all you have to do is do a good job of being the beekeeper, knowing
Beekeeper.
what to do, and then enlisting the right tool or the right tech or sometimes the right people, because not everything is outsourceable, to do it.
Yeah.
So it's a how maybe it's not even how to do more with less. It's how do you make possible what was once impossible.
Yeah. So you can actually now do more if you're a single operator, entrepreneur, or something like that. You can enlist the use of AI to help you do all those things that potentially you couldn't have done alone
Yeah.
at a more
Yeah.
efficient rate.
And so efficient. Exactly. Yeah. There's this term. So Sam Altman, who's the CEO of OpenAI, he has this thing of, we're gonna reach AGI when we have a one person billion-dollar company. So like one person works at this billion-sized dollar revenue generating company. That's
Mm.
his version of AGI. You can argue with that sentence whether that is true in AGI, whether that's even possible.
Are you already seeing that?
I mean, this part is debatable, where there's this company called Medvi. It's kind of like an affiliate marketing type of company, and there's two people in the company, and they're not generating $1 billion, but they're valued at that, and
Yeah.
that right now is sort of being the example that is harped on. A lot of people have a lot of problems with using that as an example because it's not really a traditional company of sorts. It's affiliate marketing. So you can argue with that, like whether
Well, I've heard this
that was the
recently. So,
type
like,
of
it's
company.
it's valued at $1 billion, let's say, on paper, but does it actually have that value? And then what happens if things change? Where does all that value go?
I mean, I'd assume that, I think this is a company that took investment funding, correct me if I'm wrong.
Hmm.
And so if they did, then there were third-party investors that did value it in a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so because this one is so contentious, and I personally think that this is still quite visionary.
Yeah.
This is sort of what he thinks might happen. But are we, cutting our headcount and making them more efficient and doing more with less? That is happening,
Yeah.
where we don't need the same number of people, just like how I saw that happen in my own team
Yeah.
at Alibaba. Um, it was a massive change from 2018 to 2019 with the way that we did things. So is it trending that way? Yes.
Yeah.
But have we reached the $1 billion mark?
Yeah.
Probably not.
How far away do you think that is?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say because um I think I think you kind of have to draw the line. So are we going to say are all of the frontier models that we have going to stop at this stage and we're only going to use the tools that we have now? If so, we probably won't get there.
Yeah.
However, the thing that we know is the length with which these agents systems can take on tasks that was originally done by humans, it is doubling, like it is growing. And that curve of the line, like is it growing this way or is it growing like is it like a
Yeah.
sharp tick or like
Yeah.
a more gentler uptick? I think it's very dependent on that.
Right.
Yeah. And so if it is a extremely sharp uptick, then probably, probably from a technological lens, but I
Hmm.
think the thing with the whole world is, like even with the amount of tech and innovation we have now, we have to adjust to it and kind of bend ourselves to, okay, how do I change, think about work now? Like, do I think about getting promoted? Like, what majors? Like, there's already so many questions that we have not even acclimated to that if there was that sharp uptick, it's like, okay, maybe the technology allows the billion-dollar company to formulate, but society and just the current institutions or governments or culture or acceptability in culture is going to probably not cause it to happen, even when the tech is ready.
Right. Interesting. Why do you think society or culture would not allow it to happen, even though the tech is ready? Because
Uh, I
one
mean,
can
there's
just,
already just so much backlash
hmm,
with you know, there's a lot of backlash. This is what I think will eventually happen is I think there might be two camps of people forming.
hmm,
There's going to be a camp that's actually quite anti-AI.
yeah,
And you can call them kind of Amish or refusal to plug in to the connected internet even. But I think like there's that pocket of people, and that pocket of people is gonna grow in size as there's more disruptions that's caused by AI
yeah,
that falls on it. I mean, like with all of these layoffs that's happening in the tech space, like dependent on how agile they are, how fast they are to learn, can they, hop back onto the horse? Are they truly, in uh, will they like will UBI, like universal basic income, be a thing?
Yeah.
Is what awaits us? So there's just a lot of there's a lot of backlash already. I think there's a growing momentum of kind of anti-AI people.
Hmm.
Um, and um,
I don't know, as
and
a
also
business owner
let's not
myself,
forget.
like I use AI now, and sometimes I'm a little bit worried about using AI and how that's going to reflect, on my business and brand. So I try to keep my person involved in that, because I believe there is still that stigma around, oh, he's using AI. That's not good. But I also see in my real life that more and more people are now slowly going, okay, this is ChatGPT, and like my mum's using it now, and other people are starting to use it. So they're starting to break down those barriers already, just because more and more people are using it and people are talking about it. And so people are getting more comfortable with it already.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Like you've heard of AI slop before. That's like a very um
AI
that's a
slop.
problem that
I
yeah,
haven't
have you
heard of
heard of
that
that
before.
term?
No.
There's
What's
a
that?
term called AI slop. It's basically like you can tell right away if it's developed by AI,
Hmm.
just with the M dashes, right? Like the long lines, and also
Bloody long
like AI
lines.
likes to speak in like it's this, not that, and like make it short, like these like short punchy sentences layered with like longer paragraphs. That's a classic way that ChatGPT writes. That's like its tone of writing. And Claude writes a bit differently. So I think, or like an AI
But do you
generated
think people
image.
will just become accustomed to that anyway because they just see it more and more, and it's just like,
No, I think they're accustomed to it. But do we
yeah.
like it? Probably not. I mean, why are you implementing like your own humanness to certain things, right? Like
Hmm.
you don't like it either, and
Yeah,
you
okay.
probably think
Good
that
point.
other people do not, and they do not. And well, I mean, yeah, it depends, but most people think that it's lazy, right? Like if you're just copy
Yeah,
pasting something that and you're throwing it to a client, it just shows lack of care sometimes.
yeah.
Um, and it's very generic. It's like not, there's no magic to it. It's generated by a machine. It's generated by a machine and it sounds like it's generated by a machine. Like
Hmm.
at least use the machine in a way where it's generating something, but it really sounds better than maybe if a human wrote it. And I don't mean the
Yeah.
grammatical stuff, like the genuine like pieces of meat in there. But AI can't not produce original thought. It can write Shakespearean rhymes and it can make everything rhyme. Something that's kind of hard sometimes for a human to do, but it doesn't produce original thought that's thought-provoking or
Hmm.
um, that is, there's meat to it. Um, and that's something still that we need AI to do. So in
Yeah.
the book, I talk about two terms. One is called narrow AI, and the other is called AGI or artificial general intelligence. And that latter thing is still a fictitious theoretical um, thing. And so that there I hope there is a recognition there of AI is great, but its abilities stop at a certain point.
So what's this AGI then? And why is that theoretical at the moment?
It's just not good enough yet. So AGI is when an AI system has the same level of intelligence as a person. So as a person, I can do things on my computer. An AI system can do a lot of those things on the computer. So on that level, we're kind of on pair, on par to each other. If we're producing original thought, it's probably like a level below me.
Yeah.
Um, I can drive. I can do fit like things that are more physical and interact with the real world. Currently, an AI system can't really do that, so it falls short
Right.
again in that department. Recently, there was this test called ARC AGI 3, which is a game that they made a lot of humans play, and they made all of the latest models play. The humans scored 100%, and the models scored 1 to 2%.
Huh.
And you can also find the game yourself. It's modeled after this thing called Bubba Is You, if you've ever heard of that mobile game before.
Hmm.
It's like it looks like a Game Boy. You go in and it looks very simple. It's just a couple of blocks. But what you're trying to do, or level one, is there are no instructions that are given to you, and you just kind of have to like poke around, find your way. You like make the block go left, go right, bump things, and then you eventually figure it out and you win and you pass the level. But when you drop an AI system in there in the same game, as intelligent as this model is, because it's passing LSATs with flying colors and MCATs with flying colors, it's trained on the entire world's knowledge. You drop it in this game, give it no instructions, and it's unable to do what humans are doing, which is poke around,
Interesting.
like
Yeah.
test out things like, is this gonna work? Is this gonna work? Okay, is this how I move the block? And then does the block have to turn this way? So it's things like that. It's I call it figuring it out. Like if I
Yeah.
gave you no
The
instructions,
problem
just
solving.
go. It's problem solving. Yeah, it's
So is
problem
that is
solving.
that is that coming soon? Because you talk about general AI at the moment, but then you talk about chatbots and things like that, as opposed to agents, AI agents, and that's something that's
There's
coming now too to take.
there's already agents. So there's
Yeah.
chatbots. That's sort of the primitive way. That's the primitive form of ChatGPT. Now there's agents, so they're more autonomous. They can go on the internet and do things. They can look at the files in your computer. And now with OpenClaw, like that, the lobster thing, if you've seen that pop around, or Claude Cowork, or Perplexity Computer, or
Yep.
computer use type of agents. Like these type of agents are more autonomous. So not only can they go on the computer and look for things, but they can open a new Instagram account and then they can create posts and start posting on this Instagram account. And they're just like a lot more autonomous and free
Yeah.
roaming on the World Wide Web. And then the next layer up, it should be where AI can assist us in creating new inventions or like scientific breakthroughs. I think I read something like a long time ago where like AI was able to find this new nanomaterial, this new type of, and I'm not a physicist, so this new type of nanomaterial
Yeah.
that like a traditional human scientist just could not think of. And so there's like hints of that. So it's not exactly here yet, but that's what they predict to be potentially the next
Hmm.
stage. But I think the whole world is probably still vacillating between the chatbot to the agent side of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I came across this chart recently, which is it was like every if each dot was 100 million people in the planet, and so it's like the whole world is epitomized in these little dots. This block of people are people that have interacted with an AI chatbot, and then a thinner slice of people are a paid user of these AI systems, and then like a even smaller like little like a now it's like couple dots
Hmm.
vibe codes thing, so like build apps with AI, and then like even tinier are people who
Interesting.
are like using this for science. So if we look at it from the grand scheme of things, like the vast majority of the world has not even interacted with an AI chatbot yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Okay. So we still got a lot of work to do. I sometimes wonder whether AI, we talk about efficiencies and doing more with less, but is it actually going to give us more time back, or is it actually going to make us be more busy by doing things? Do you think?
um, I think it depends on like what you want to do with your life.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, yeah.
Fair answer.
There's like two types of people, right? Like one type of person like wants a job, gets a job, just wants to be paid. And so now that there's AI and you can outsource so much of that, this person will probably get so many hours of their day back to them and they can spend it with their families, spend it on their hobbies, and call it a life. And
Yeah.
then there's like another type of people, the group that's like, Okay, now I can outsource all of this now. I have so many hours left. Let me raise my bar, or like let me
Do
raise my
something
KPI.
else.
Let me
Yep.
double revenue. Let me create another company. Let me like
Yeah.
these people are almost insatiable in a way. So they will become busier. They probably will kind of burn out in in this journey.
I can relate. Yeah.
That's for them to kind of handle and tune.
Uh-huh.
So it kind of depends on your
Yeah,
personality,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I
Well
don't think it's
answered.
a one answer that covers it all kind of thing.
So I guess the question a lot of people will be asking, and a lot of people are talking about now, is will AI replace me? What's a better question they should be asking?
Is if you read the book, you'll find out if it will actually replace you based on how you spend your time. So, are you spending a lot of your time doing bee tasks or are you spending your time doing beekeeper tasks? And if the vast majority of your job, like 95% of your jobs is on a bee type of task, then depending also where you work, are you, an owner of a small medium business? Are you a traditional employee working at a larger company? If the vast majority of your work is kind of be like, then it is quite easy to replace you because as long as that company catches up to the latest product features and actually adopts it and finishes with piloting and testing it, then reorgs are going to change. Your role might be pulled from one department to another, and things are going to shift. So the advice that I give to people is try to kind of have a head start on it in that try to replace parts of yourself. So uh, like a lot of us after college when we joined a larger company, we never had this self-reflection exercise. We kind of just either chased a larger and larger paycheck or wanted the next promotion. We never thought, okay, so in this new role that I'm entering, like, is this more of a bee type of job or is this more of a beekeeper type of job? And I guess we couldn't ask that question prior to 2022 anyway, but
Hmm.
post that year, we should all be asking that question, but not enough of us are asking it.
But I would suggest there's more bee type jobs out there today than beekeeper type jobs, and
True.
less opportunities for those people in those jobs to go up to a beekeeper role, right? Like, how's that going to impact the
Um,
workforce overall? Like, people are going to have to radically reskill, or we're going to have to create new jobs and new beekeeper roles.
Yeah, I mean that latter part is kind of happening. There's a ton of new startups because of this AI age, and there's even in the traditional field of law and healthcare and insurance, there's new companies that are created that are more AI enabled. So
Hmm.
they technically should be able to compete faster than a more traditional law firm or insurance firm. So jobs are being created for sure. And so you can just jump to the new company if that is what you wanted to do. But also it's like the our ability to learn is going to be tested. And so if you're very good at being thrown in a situation and figure it out, kind of like it's like the metaphor of life with that arc AGI
Mm.
game. Like if you're good at that type of thing where I throw you in somewhere unfamiliar and you just kind of have to test and poke at things and be curious and see if this works. Sometimes it won't work, but just if you have that type of mindset, then you'll do perfectly fine. You'll do
Mhm.
perfectly fine in your current company anyway, because things will change and you'll probably be with a very stable kind of mindset where you're just like, this is just the new change and this is how I'm going to adapt to it. If you are of the camp that's a little more fearful of change or reluctant to change, if you're a lot more, I'm good at following instructions, give me the instructions and I will execute the instructions, that type of personality will probably suffer the most.
What is your personal take on the impact this will have on jobs in the next 5, 10 years?
I think so there's a picture that all these tech CEOs are painting. So like somebody like Jack Dorsey just redesigned his firm. He laid off 40% of his company in a day. And I mean, he says that it's been a project that he's been planning for at least 6 months, and then
Mm,
it just seemed very sudden. But he had been, you know, looking at the data and reorging things and playing things around for a long time. Um, Sometimes I think people will read that headline and kind of over um over idealize its impact or kind of like take it too seriously. I think it takes a while for anything to roll out. If
mm,
we look at even if we like look back to like the computer age or the age of the internet. Like it took like decades for that to roll out. And it's rolled out
mm.
very, very slowly. Just like that chart. I think that chart, that picture of everyone in the world, it's
Yeah.
like a very stark picture of maybe we are in our own little AI bubbles and the algorithms that are in front of us are constantly feeding us AI related things. So we feel like change is so fast. Whereas if you looked at the entire world, it's actually rolling out quite slowly. And then added with the amount of resistance that I said earlier. Um, so
Do
I
you think
think
there's
in the
more
next,
resistance now than, let's say, when the computer tech age was here, the internet age? Like for me, I feel like it's everything's going faster and faster. We go from the Industrial Revolution to computer and tech and internet to now AI.
well, I mean, t time itself has not changed.
Uh,
Like a day now is a day before,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it was a day in the Middle Ages. So time itself did not change. Um, but I mean, I think it still just feels like it's changing very
no,
quickly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Um, like change is happening, but it's hard to kind of like new put a like one new number
mm,
says it all kind of number.
yeah. What could people start to do, whether you're a small business owner, creator, agent, whatever, what could they start to do now to future-proof themselves in the AI world?
Um, First they can read the book. And I wrote it in a way where because there's just so much noise, and I think like when I talk to somebody who's non-technical, who's maybe a bit older too, who's, not a traditional software engineer or not tech adjacent, they look at this and they don't know where to start or it feels very overwhelming. So
Mm,
that was the type of person that I wanted to write this book for because I think that is also the type of person that will be impacted the most because here we are in our little bubble and we're very informed and it's like we can almost see and visualize the change as it's happening, but for somebody who's outside of that bubble, they when something happens, it might feel like it's coming from left field for them.
yeah,
So I wrote it in a way where you kind of just have to read this. It's also very easy to read and short, and I wanted to make it short
yeah,
so that it's consumable because if it's too theoretical, it's too jargony, then nobody likes to read a textbook. Um,
yeah,
and I think
perfect.
it's important information.
Yeah. So read the book. Got the link in the show notes here for everyone to click on. Is there Are the younger people really taking grab of this AI? Or is it sort of the people from, in the 40s to 50s that have some sort of internet background that are now really grabbing this and making it happen? Is there a divergence there in age demographics? Do you see?
Well, younger people, because they grew up in the internet age, they're not it's hard it's easier for them to adopt and change the way that they think or change their workflow than it is for somebody a lot older
Yeah, yeah,
who's more senior and proven their ways and got like climbed that ladder like rung by rung and got to where they are because they got to success in that older fashion and
Hmm.
now you want to pivot them to learn everything that's new. It's harder for them to adapt.
I suppose, yeah, but
Um,
young people can adapt to it easier, but
mhm.
can they see the potential of what it can do as far as creating businesses and efficiencies in businesses, as opposed to the older generations that have that experience in business. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I think it goes back to like personality again.
Personality again, yeah.
And
Probably.
so there's this phenomenon in there's this like Chinese term called tangping, if you've ever heard of it.
Tongue ping, yeah.
Um,
What is that?
yeah, so it's like basically called lying flat versus involution, and translated is it's basically somebody who kind of just like I said before, comes to work, is
Yeah.
working for the paycheck, clocks out at 5 p.m. exactly, or maybe 4:55. And then there's the person that's very kind of they're working nonstop. These people are like very prone to burnout. There's like two these type of personalities almost. And in the 20 range, so the Gen Z age, there's actually a lot more of the former than the latter. I was talking about this
Mm.
with
It's interesting
with
that,
my
isn't it?
mom too. So she runs her own company and she has to hire all the time these new graduates, 23, 24, 25. And then she's like, you know what? Like 10 years ago, it was so much easier to hire somebody who maybe didn't know much, but was very willing to learn and was just very driven.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like everyone seems kind of almost like dulled out and
Mm.
it's almost kind of like they're not very motivated. I mean, they want to work. Nobody wants to be unemployed, but there's the lack of like drive, I think
Mm.
is
Wonder
what she
why.
was trying to say. And
Mm.
she deduced that to how these people grew up. So the people that grew up in the 80s, 90s less so, but like 70s, 80s, they got to where they were through hard work. Like that
Mm.
was the time where they could have, if you worked hard, you were probably promoted. You can put a down payment for a house by a certain year. You're probably going to raise a family. And it's like a very classic, structured, hard work emphasizing culture. And
Mm.
then you have kids that are born in 2000s that grew up with a lot of abundance. Like information was at their fingertips and it's like apps were just so common. Like it was not revolutionary and they didn't have to struggle. And I it's and she this is her opinion. Is that she thinks that because they didn't grow up with that struggle when they got older, that little element is also missing. Um,
Mm.
yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I tend to agree, and I tend to see
What's
that
happening in Australia?
there's less drive in the younger people. But I mean, I saw that in I'm 44 now, and I had that drive all the time. But I'm one of those personalities that like to be busy as well. So I get it. Not everyone's like that, but yeah, certainly have seen that shift in younger people in their drive. And I suppose where I'm heading with this question is that with AI now, how is that going to impact our ability to be creative and problem solve? I mean, are we just going to be relying more and more on AI to think for us? And therefore, why do anything?
Well, I mean, that's like the thing that I really hope does not happen. Where I think that if you do use AI too much, it is causing you to it is going to you're outsourcing thinking, and that's the one thing that you do not want to
Mm,
outsource.
hmm
Um, I believe in Descartes' words, which is I think, therefore I am. Like thinking is tied to your existence. And so if you're outsourcing thinking, you almost exist a little less.
What do you do in your personal life to have that opportunity to think? Do you create time for thinking? Do you have
I write.
meditation practice? You write? Journal?
Yeah. I write everything from journaling
Just
um to blogs, the
yeah,
Substack that I put out. Writing for me is a way to process something and make sense of
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And I think that sense making thing is also part of like how else can we navigate this world wrought with disparate pieces of information? Some are useful to us, some are absolutely crap. Like, what are you going to take away with, or what are you going to leave with? So when I write, it's almost like my mind is filled with all of these little, like 1,000 million data points. But when I'm putting it down, there's a through line that there's like a
Connecting,
coherence that I'm
threading it all
forming.
together.
Yeah, yeah. And so I will lose out or flush out, almost like gradually forget the things that it was just not relevant to this thread that I'm threading. And it's like these little exercises because I will write weekly or periodically so that I'm always practicing that way to thread something.
Do you take time away from tech in your daily life to be without noise and information?
Yeah, so I definitely so on my phone, I do not have any notifications. Or like so if I open my home screen right now, it's as if nobody has messaged me, nobody has emailed me, nobody has like there's no that number. And I will not allow pings to happen. Well, I'll let pings to happen if I'm meeting up with someone and I need to coordinate and like it's gonna be really inconvenient if I have to tap in.
Right.
So I try to reduce that. I try to reduce the frequency with which I pick up my phone or use my
Yeah.
phone. I like to do it in batch loads.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at
Sensible.
it like this is like a session that I'm giving it, and it's probably because I need to get some sort of information or airdrop some photo or like do something there. Um, Otherwise, I try not to have it kind of short circuit my brain, which
Yeah.
I think happens, especially with the TikToking that we do and Instagramming that we do. It's like short circuiting your brain.
Yeah. And it's a practice. I'm trying harder and harder myself now to do just that. Like no notifications, silent phone, put the phone away. Really good habits to get into. What do you think people are overhyping right now with AI?
It depends on the group. I think the tech CEOs are a little too um bold or forward with the we're gonna lose 50% of white collar jobs in
Yeah.
like next year. Or
Yeah.
like the one person $1 billion company thing. Um Not that that's hype, because maybe that's what they truly believe in, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
feels like hype when media starts to fan it, and then it just gets like shifted around the internet, and you read it like this headline after another, and then it feels like hype.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
maybe that's just what they sincerely believe in,
And fair
and
enough too. Yeah.
but I guess. Yeah, so maybe it's like not hype, but it's when we read a headline like that, just know that that was just the opinion of one person or
Yeah.
maybe
Group
like
of people. Yeah.
his
Yeah.
company. Yeah, yeah, not the vast majority.
But if you're seeing companies like you mentioned before, cutting 40% of the workforce in a day, like there's good reason to start believing in that hype if you're hearing those headlines as well.
Yeah, I mean, layoffs have always happened, or
Hmm.
they've been happening quite frequently in the past few years.
Yeah.
And some say that was overcorrection from hiring too much during COVID. Like really didn't need all these remote workers. But we just didn't want to, we wanted to retain capacity or perform to capacity. So we hired all of these people.
Yeah.
Um, so there's that too. Um,
So what
yeah.
about what are people underestimating the impact of AI?
They're not maybe underestimating. It's more like they're not informed of um, what is possible. Like
Yeah.
every conversation or training that I do with a company, um, I sometimes think like, oh, like I don't want to waste their time with repeating things that they already know. And then as I start to talk about things, they're like, wow, like I did not know this. And I'm like, oh, you didn't? Because I guess it's more obvious to me, or I would have thought that this is quite old news by now. But yeah, it's a realization for me too, that everyone is at a different, there, it's all like disparate data points. Like and it's hard. There's no like one standard AI LSAT te or like LSAT type of test. Maybe LSATs is not even international. It's like just American. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
There's no
know.
like one big international standard test, and we all take it, and we very clearly will know, like your level of AI knowledge and how little you know or how much you know, and then we come together, and then it'll be smoother in bringing people up to speed. But when I'm walking to a room, I'm just surveying, the event organizers or hearsay. Like it's not that accurate.
Do you have any fears of AI and its potential?
Yeah, I mean there's a ton of things that can go wrong. They say this could be worse than nuclear wars.
Really?
The things that can go wrong.
Yeah. I won't dive into that well at this stage. What are some skills that AI won't be able to replace in our jobs and for us, for the novice person listening out there, what could we be doing? Or what will AI potentially not take over?
In the general hemisphere, you'll hear three things, which is taste, judgment, and agency. Taste is like, do you know if something is good? And then judgment is, what do I do actually in a certain situation? And then agency is, are you motivated to do something? But beyond, I think, all of that,
Taste, judgment,
and
and
even,
agency. Hmm.
yeah, you know what though, is when I started hearing tech CEO after tech CEO repeat that, I was like, you guys must have all went to ChatGPT and typed in the question. So, in this age of AI, what are the three things, or like, what are the things that humans will retain that cannot be outsourced to AI? And then got the same answer, and then started using that with different interviewers when they were asked that question. That's what I thought. Because it's uncanny how similar those answers are.
It's a bit
Not
scary,
that I
really, when you're asking AI to say, "Hey, AI, what do you think you can't replace?" Because when AI advances, then it could tell us anything that we'd believe.
Well, that's if you think that this AI system is already malicious or if it's like
Right.
kind of conscious and have a mind of its own. And it doesn't right now.
Maybe not yet. No.
As of like public knowledge that's like publicly released, it
Yeah.
is not. Yeah, um I mean that's like a debatable thing. But to answer your question,
Yes.
so that's sort of your classic answer. My answer is giving a shit.
Yeah.
Like AI does not give 2 cents
Yeah.
or does not get like AI can execute for you no to with no tomorrow and not tell you I need some healthcare insurance, not say I need a salary bump, not say I need a promotion. They'll just work and work and work.
Yeah.
But ultimately, they don't care. They're like it just doesn't exist. There's no
Yeah.
emotional investment in anything. They're not vested in anything. They don't own a part of the company. They don't care if it dies or lives.
Thank you, shit.
Uh
The people elements really is what it's not going to be able to replace. So the ability to problem solve, to care, to show empathy.
right. Well, the people part, uh, yes. Yes, that is
Hmm.
also part of the classic hemisphere, but that people part can get better and better.
Mm.
Um Yeah, I mean, we already have like AI companions, and some people prefer like an AI boyfriend girlfriend to a real boyfriend girlfriend. So that means, and these are also not like completely berserk people. These are
Mm.
functioning people in society. They have jobs, they, eat. and sleep, and they're like normal humans. And that phenomenon is already happening. So it kind of just means that means the output that that AI chatbot or system is giving them is good enough for them to bond with emotionally.
Mm,
Um, so
interesting.
I
Yeah.
think that I mean, but do they have feelings? Do they do not have feelings? Do they have emotions? They do not have emotions. But it doesn't mean that they can't say things in a certain way that kind of simulates emotion. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and then for us to receive on the receiving end, feel something,
Mm,
or on the receiving end, connect with it. Um, I mean, if you look at also just the amount of information all of these systems have, like some people have told more to these AI systems than they ever did to their spouses or to their parents, or to their call like to another person.
yeah. Yeah. They're crazy, huh? Um, cool. What's next for you, Sharon? Now that you've written this book?
Um, wrote this book. I'm doing a lot of keynote speaking, advising different companies, training, bringing people up to speed, in what's happening. And ultimately, the big takeaway is I hope people are not sideswept with what's happening, is that they
Yeah.
are very informed and that they're more calculated. Like some people might know the full answer and choose not to participate in any of it.
Mm,
And there's no wrong. That's not a wrong response either. I think people are free to choose whatever you think is
yeah.
best for yourself.
Yeah.
But
Being
at least be
informed.
informed
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
both sides of the coin, that it's not all great, but it's not all bad.
Well, I hope this conversation has helped form that, and obviously your book as well, How to Do More with Less, which I'll put the link in the show notes as well. How can people best reach out to you if they want to see more of your work or connect?
You can find me on Instagram. I'm SharonG.ai. Um, my last name is Guy, so AI is literally my name. I didn't change that in 2022. Or you can find me on LinkedIn. Those are the best places.
Awesome. All right, we'll stick the links in the show notes. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Hope you've enjoyed the conversation as much as I had. People check it out at thehiddenwhy.com. Until next time, peace, passion, and purpose. See you soon. Thanks, Sharon.
Thank you.
Okay, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in this week to this interview. I hope you enjoyed the conversation we had. Make sure you check it out at thehiddenwhy.com for all the show notes and links to our guest. And if you have any comments, any suggestions for the show, please make sure you reach out as well. Also, would like to just ask a favor. If you do like what you're listening to, if you love what you're hearing, make sure you subscribe, whether you're listening to this on iTunes, wherever it might be. Subscribe to the podcast so you can stay up to date with all the latest episodes and some exciting changes happening this year at The Hidden Why, including the launch of our new website, which will be updated very soon. So watch this space for that, guys. And once again, live more fully, have more meaning, find more joy. We'll see you around the next interview.